Speaker is Bernie Plitt. Words, not force. Words, not force. Bernie Plitt.
On a quiet afternoon in the South American country of Paraguay, Tioki! Tioki! Julio, my buddy and neighbor. Julio, and that was our calling code which we used to summon each other, to come and play on this large mango tree that grew on an empty lot across the street from my parents' house. Oh, how I wish I could be out there playing with Julio. Caramba, why am I stuck here in bed? Madam Contest, Master, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. My parents had absolutely nothing against me playing with Julio on that empty lot, except this was our siesta time. And we children had to stay in bed, whether we could sleep or not. And if my dad found out otherwise, words instead of force was seldom his choice. Tioki! Julio again! I decided to get up. I tiptoed through the house, through the backyard and across the street. High up from the tree, Julio asked, "What took you so long?" "Well, you know, the siesta rules." "And by the way, how did you manage to get out? I thought your dad had put a lock on your bedroom door." "Yes," said Julio, "the door is still locked, but not the window." I noticed Julio was already sitting on a favorite branch. When I joined him, he reached me this ripe mango and said, "I just hope we never get caught by Jasu Jatere." Who? As I was peeling this delicious tropical fruit, I learned about the story. The Guarani natives from Paraguay have their folklores and legends, and one of their well-known mythological figures is that of Jasu Jatere. He's described as a little person, fair and blonde, has a gold magical staff, lives in a forest where he hoards a lot of treasures, but above all, he is the lord of the siesta. When he spots a child not taking a nap at noontime, he will hypnotize him, drag him into the forest, and then poke his eyes out. If we ever get caught by Jasu Jatere, Julio mentioned our only salvation is to take away his staff. Then he cries like a little baby and gives us treasures in return. Not unlike the Irish leprechaun, who when caught must reward its captor with a pot of gold. So too, Jasu Jatere will reward each one of you with treasures when you return the staff. Treasures, wow. As I was enjoying this taste of cultural expose, I heard some noises from my parents' house. I scooted down the tree, I ran across the street, hoping to sneak back into my bedroom. As I slowly opened the entrance door, Jasu Jatere got a hold of me. Unlike the story, this one was tall. In frantic desperation, I tried to take away the staff, but my little hands were too weak to fend against the belt that my dad was using to give me a hefty thrashing. This action is also based on another myth which states, and I quote, "Do not withhold discipline on a child. If you beat him with a rod, he will not die." Proverbs 23, verse 13. My dad, as an evangelical missionary, would caution me when using the word myth in reference to a Bible verse. Yet he, better than anyone else, would understand why I choose not to omit this assimilation. He once conducted a funeral service in the city of Asunción, where a small boy was mourned by his father. The child had perished from the injuries inflicted of being physically punished. An only child from that wealthy businessman who in a moment of rage should have used words, not force. And all because the boy had scratched up a prized furniture piece with a blade. I wasn't at that funeral, but I recall Dad telling Mom that several men had to drag this remorseful father away from that gravesite because he kept insisting to be buried with his child. My own dad, he hardly ever spared the rod. Yet I am proud of my papa. after high school, when I finished packing my suitcase, getting ready to move to North America. He approached me with his eyes welled up and asked if I could forgive him for every time he had physically punished me. I said, Papa, I cannot count that high. Yet he insisted in seriousness by saying I should have used words, not force. I still feel the warmth of that long-lasting hug. The lesson he had taught me was that parental love and admitting to mistakes goes hand in hand. And I made a promise to my papa. My daughter, she's now a teenager, and she can testify to the fact that my wife and I did keep the promise to teach with words, not force. In the language of the Guaranese, Jasu Jatere literally means a little piece of the moon, a story in which a little fair fellow, a little piece of the moon, encourages children to take their naps so that their caregivers, hopefully, will not use force. On that hot afternoon, 40 years ago, Julio warned me about this little piece of the moon. Shortly thereafter, my own piece of the moon got a thrashing. That pain has long since faded away, unlike the scream of another child, whose silenced voice is still rising and pleading. Choose words, not force. Madam Constable.